Okay, Booknerds, we have taken a huge break from these live sessions. As you know, in the second wave, a lot of us and a lot of our team also got affected by this deadly virus. And also, we won't be talking about it after this. But we have taken a like couple of months break, but now we are back with, and we are so happy that we are back with an amazing children's book author. Her name is Samina Mishra. Hi, Samina, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm really
Great.
looking forward to the chat.
Yeah, guys, if you don't by any chance know about Samina, I would like to tell a little bit more about her. She's a documentary filmmaker, she's a writer, a teacher, and she stays in Delhi. And she runs the Magic Key Center for the Arts in Childhood. So she is in this space of creating media for children, and that's so fascinating for me. Somebody just working for children, educating them in all ways possible. So it's wonderful to have you, Samina ji. And of course, we are here to talk about these books right here. Okay, so Jamlo Walks, and this book we'll be talking in detail, of course. And there's another one. It's called Nida Finds a Way. And these two books are just brilliant. I'm not saying it just for the sake of it because I have to, but the illustrations and the message they want to convey, and overall they are just great books for children. Anyways, I won't ramble on for too much. I would like Samina to answer a few questions of mine. And first of all, let's talk about this one.
Sure.
Jungle Books. And on the outside, I mean, these books look very innocuous, to be honest. I would say, it's like, it's a regular children's book. It'll have a good story. It'll be just fun, and we'll go to sleep and da 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 da, and that's about it. But this is based on a true story, if I'm not wrong. So please tell us a little bit about the
Yes,
inception
it
of
is.
this book, first of all, and then, of course, we'll talk in detail.
Well, first of all, I think that all children's books that we have fun with
Yeah.
and go to sleep listening to the bedtime stories, even those books, I think they leave things in our heads, in children's minds,
Yeah.
for us to reflect on. And that's, I mean, good books should do that.
Yeah.
And that should be our sort of attempt. We should be trying to do that. So Jamlo came to me as a story, uh, last year when we all went into lockdown and, the migrants started working because it was announced with, just at 4 hours notice.
Right.
That showed complete sort of lack of
Yeah.
consideration for the different kinds of lives that, people in this country have.
Yeah.
Um, I think so many of us were just like, we were speechless at what was happening.
Yeah.
We really, like, it was something we had never seen before. I mean, we know of what happened during partition, and we have seen those sort of images from that time.
True.
But for this to happen in independent India in this way to its citizens, it was really like, I mean, I don't think many we were able to make sense of it.
Yeah.
There were all these awful images of them trying to walk.
Yeah.
There were everyday stories, those people on the train tracks. And so Jamlo came around the same time. The story of Jamlo came around the same time. There are lots of children, young people who are, they move, they're tribal Adivasi children who go to the fields in Telangana,
Yes.
the chili fields,
Yes.
because, migrant labor also works in agricultural labor.
Yeah.
And younger people, children as well, sometimes are part of that agricultural
Right.
labor, because that is the reality of this country.
Yeah.
And Jamlo was part of a group that had gone to harvest chilies,
Okay.
and they normally work for a few months and then they go back home. They are paid either in
Yeah.
money, in cash, or in kind when they take back chilies,
Right.
sometimes both.
Yeah.
So Jamlo's story was reported in the papers, and also the People's Archive of Rural India had done a very good story on it, and that has really sort of informed a lot of like my work
Yeah.
on this book. And uh, that story of this young girl having to walk home
Yeah.
came when I had, like I'd been seeing all these other images, and I'd been talking to friends in Delhi where we knew that in the, DDA colonies and other gated communities, domestic labor were being treated in a certain
Yeah.
kind of way. There were stories how people were not paying them salaries, and, it was just all this very like ugly stuff that was sort of coming out. And
Right.
so I remember that I just, this, it was all in my head. And I think I just wrote the first version, the first draft
Yeah.
in one go. And it was about, it has changed a lot actually from that draft. But this idea of Jamlo's story juxtaposed with, other children,
Yeah.
that was there even then. So I think it was that, because I was trying to just make sense of like, what will, how will the children who are living through this, how are they going to make sense of this like complete inhumanity,
Yeah.
it's kind of really naked inhumanity
Yeah.
that was being
Yeah.
put on display. So it just came from that. But of course, after that, I had to kind of work on it. I don't think I didn't write it thinking it's going to be a children's story. I didn't write it thinking it's going to be a picture book, none of that.
Okay.
So all that came sort of later, but
Okay.
that's really the
I
genesis.
have a couple of questions about that, but before that, do you really think that the privileged really care?
So I don't want to I'm privileged, and so are you.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
here
of
we
course.
are talking about it.
Yeah,
So I don't. I mean, I think that we do have to live in in hope, and I think that there are also, even in this last 1.5 years, there have been so many also incidents of people coming together
yeah,
and doing, like, even last year when the migrants were working. I
yeah,
know of so many people, like
yeah.
I know of a outside in a DDA colony, not very far from where I live, where people had set up a kind of like, stall outside with food and water, and to
Great.
give people as they were going past.
Yeah,
So it is not true that people, not that everybody doesn't care.
yeah, yeah,
um, More and more, yes, we know we are struck by the people who don't care.
yeah.
But I think there are also people who care. No, that's why this book also exists. Otherwise, why would somebody publish it?
Obviously.
That's why we are having a conversation.
Oh, yes, I
you
would
know
like to, of course, congratulate Penguinsters and Penguin India. Thank you for sending us this one. And also, of course, giving a green signal to this book. I mean, it takes a lot to kind of, bring out this kind of book. And yeah, congratulations, both you and the illustrator, of course. How can we forget the illustrator?
Yes.
Beautiful
Yes.
illustrations within this book. I would like everybody to have a peek. You know, I can't give out everything, but yeah, of course, guys, check this out. How beautiful is this?
Yeah. I think that Tariq's work is
Yeah.
perhaps even more important. I wrote the story, but the book comes together because there are other people working on it.
Yeah, it's a
I wrote the
teamwork.
story, but it became a book because of Smith, the editor,
Yeah,
Tariq's work,
yeah,
and Devangana, who's done the art direction.
yeah.
It's everything comes together, and then the final product is actually a collaboration.
I'm a fan of Tariq's, by the way. Anyways, please tell him that. Anyways, so I wanted to ask you, what is the one thing that kind of enthralls you in this space, because this is a 24/7 job for you. I mean, creating content and being in this space, the children book space, and documentaries, etc., etc. What is the one thing that enthralls you,
So
and
I'm
you
not
hope?
24/7. I'm not 24/7 in the children's book space. So I work, I'm a little bit all over.
Okay, okay,
I think that I like to work with different kinds of media.
okay,
And I'm trained as a filmmaker.
okay.
Um, yeah, in my head, I'm 24/7 thinking about
Yeah,
things that I'd like to make,
right.
in different ways, whether it's text or image or sound or whatever. Yeah, so that I am. But
That is a
nobody
kind of
has the luxury of being able to do only creative creative work 24/7. So
Yes,
I earn my bread and butter through other things like teaching. But
obviously.
even in that, I'm thinking about, I'm always responding to creative work.
Right.
So I feel I'm really lucky.
What is the one thing that one has to be careful about, kind of, while writing for children? What I mean, compared to adults, I
Yeah.
mean, what is especially the one thing that one needs to be?
uh, I don't know if I would use the word careful, but I think what's
Yeah,
really important to keep in mind when we are writing for
yeah,
children is perhaps to remember what we were like as children, or perhaps to be able to tap into the child who is still in us.
yeah,
I think that if we are able to be honest about that,
yeah.
then uh, we can write not to be able to instruct,
Okay.
not to be able to give some moral message,
Yeah,
but to share experience,
yeah,
to be able to see something, to be able to see some part of the world from another perspective, because that's really what children do. No, children are able to see things from perspectives which we as grown-ups can't. So if we are able to remember that in us, and or continue to hold the child in us, because we do all have the child still in us, then I think that's the thing to consider.
So, what is the kind of feedback, some of the feedback that you've received for Jamlo right now, as of now, from children, from parents? Would you like to tell the audience?
Yeah, sure. So, so when I was not sure whether it's a book for, like, picture books are considered for very young children,
I
and this
loved
is
it.
not.
By the way, guys, I loved
No,
it.
no, I don't think that, I don't think age is really like books and ages are neatly matched. I don't think that it
Oh, I
works like
thought
that.
there's something wrong with me. I love all picture books.
No, so do we. Yeah, all grown-ups should actually read. There's a lot for us in picture books.
Yeah,
But what I meant is actually that it's not a story for very young children.
yeah,
It's actually, I mean, I think maybe 8, 9 year old and
yes,
above.
yes.
To be able to comprehend this thing. And picture
And
books are
children have
not.
gotten very smart, I remember I was in this school in Faridabad, Manav Rachna. I was in Manav Rachna. We were conducting an event, and the response of class 5 students was incredible. I mean, they were so mature,
Yeah.
their answers were so on point, and the author was like, okay, she was not from Delhi NCR. She was like, they are way ahead, you know. And you know why that was happening? There was an half an hour class of reading, just reading at the beginning of the day. So that was kind of, perhaps.
So yeah, I mean, I do think that of course children are also a kind of product of their times, and there is everything is happening faster and at an
True,
earlier age for
true.
them, and there is
Yeah,
so much more exposure, like the kind of content that is available on so many different platforms in so many different ways.
yeah,
So naturally, I think they're coming to ideas at an earlier age, to many things.
yeah.
But to go back to your question, there I've had a few sessions with kids. I've had a school session also, and I was not certain that it is going to work with kids.
Yeah,
But after having had that and seeing the kind of questions that they ask, I feel that it's fine. And I've had also parents write in who have used it with very young children, and of course they say it's really sad and I cried, and my daughter didn't want. One of them told me my daughter wanted to share it with her grandmother, but she was being very careful about when we were coming to the end.
yeah,
So to me, all of those responses are indicators
yeah.
that somewhere the book is doing what it's meant to. As long as children are going to be able to think about these ideas and ask the right questions, and they ask me those questions in these sessions, then I know it's working in some way.
Right. But I think so. I mean, not giving away. I mean, it's a true story, so not giving away the end is. I don't think so. It exists, but I think so. It was very, like, it was done in a very subtle manner. So I was like, I had to go back a page to kind of, oh, okay.
Mhm.
So it was like very in a very done in a very subtle manner. Also, I would like to show everyone this page, and I would quote from it after this. This is from the book when Jamlo is walking, and Samina ji has written that the road shimmers like water, empty of cars and buses. She sees figures swaying in the shimmer. Perhaps it is Hareli and everyone is dancing and eating laddus. Jamlo blinks. A car with the flag roars down the road. I mean, this is in the middle of the book somewhere, and it is so kind of it's heartbreaking. I mean, a child doesn't realize what kind of situation. Was it 200 kilometers? She had
Yeah.
to.
So the note at the book, so we felt it was important also to put some facts down, and the note at the end of the book has that information. Yeah,
Yeah,
she did, and she walked for 3 days, and she was short of just, I think, 30 or 40 kilometers when she couldn't.
that's a feat in itself, because walking.
She walked
I mean,
for
I
three
wouldn't
days.
like to use the word feat here, but she had to. But it was very, yeah, it was very heartbreaking to read this book. At the same time, the writing was really on point. So if you kind of take away the emotion from it, I mean, in my head at least, uh, I loved the book,
Thank you.
and the story had to be
Yeah, I feel that, we need to talk to children about everything that's going on around us because they are seeing it, and if we
yeah,
don't, we can't actually protect them from it.
no way,
So what do we have to be able to help those conversations,
right,
so I hope the book does that, and I feel that children should have access to all kinds of books, and there are some books, I think it's really important that children should be able to pick and choose the books they want to read.
yeah,
So there are books that they should go reach out to themselves, but sometimes there are also books that the adults around them want to share with them. Now in that I think Jamlo may be a book like that. In that process it is possible that perhaps the child will reject that book. I think that's fine too,
yeah,
because there are many things as parents, as caregivers for children, we want to share with them, but they don't always have to
right,
accept those. As long as we are okay with giving them space to be able to say, no, I don't want to read this now,
yeah.
maybe we come back to it, maybe we do it like
Why not?
after a
Yeah, yeah,
week, 2 weeks, 6 months, 1 year, I don't know.
totally.
So I feel that there has to be like different approaches. They cannot be only like, oh, we only have books that kids pick for themselves.
Yeah.
We also introduce kids to things because that's really what it's about. No, life is about that people
True.
introduce you to things, but you have to have the freedom. Children should have the agency to say yes or no.
Yeah. A lot of readers, of all ages, kind of, ask us online and, what should we read and stuff. I said, read everything. I mean, why are you kind of, sticking to just mythology? I get bored with mythology after two books. That's about it. I have to go to something else. So it's kind of, read everything and watch everything.
Yeah.
Why not? So yeah, it is that, and especially Duckbill. I mean, now it's called Penguin Stars, and they have been coming up, and Penguin also has been coming up with a lot of meaningful books. I remember reading this one. It's called Darkless, and
Yes.
that was a great book.
Rose.
I mean, it talked about cancer,
Oh
and
no, that's Tanu's book.
yes,
Yes.
Tanushri Singh.
Yeah.
And yeah, so a great book. I mean, the entire children book publishing community has matured, and it's thriving now. I mean, I love it. Okay, let's go to this one. The whole
Whole
series,
book.
whole book. I This is my first whole book. Let me be honest.
Oh
And
really? So then you can buy the box set,
oh
which
yes,
they're
I have to. I have to for my daughter. Yeah.
they're advertising now.
Yeah, so she's 5 years old, my daughter, and she would, I think, so love it. So it's called Nida Finds a Way, and it's about this girl called Nida who, wants to experiment in life, go out, experience the world, and her Abba is just like all fathers, and I'm one of them. I'm like, no, 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 don't do this. I won't say yes to my daughter ever. Like it's crazy, not as
Well,
much
I
as
hope
Abba.
I hope reading Nida Finds a Way has changed your
Oh
mind
yes.
about
Oh
that.
yes. I know that I'm going to have a hard time in the future. So tell me something. What is the idea behind? I wouldn't say message, but the notion behind this one. And this is a new
Yeah.
one. Has this released? No.
No, it's I think going to be available from the 14th.
Oh
Monday.
yes. So we have exclusive access. Am I the first one to read it? I have to make it special. Goodness. No, no, no. There must have been beta readers. So tell us more.
Okay. So yeah, I'm glad you said you're not saying message because I don't like the word message.
I knew it.
So I really like, also when I teach, I try to tell my students that we are not in the business of creating messages, like
Yo,
sending
that's
out messages,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
more in the business of creating meaning.
Yes,
So I prefer that.
right.
So Nida, actually the idea for Nida came from, just the fact that there are not enough books about Muslim children.
Yeah,
We just don't have those. I mean,
yeah,
we don't have a study or anything.
yeah.
I know that, in many other countries abroad, they have studies which they can kind of present data about,
Yes.
how many black children and all of that
Yeah.
in terms of representation. We don't have that, but we have a sense that there aren't enough. And I know Shayoni, my publisher editor, has had many conversations with me about this, about, how we just don't have
Yeah.
enough books about Muslim children,
Yeah.
where their Muslim identity is just incidental. They're children doing
Right.
regular
Oh
children
yes.
stuff.
I mean, it could have been the book could have been easily about any child. I mean, it's just a very it's a great story. I mean, it could have been anyone.
So it came from that
Okay.
to be able to write about a Muslim child who wants to do regular, like things which are regular,
Yeah.
but she's a Muslim child,
Yeah.
and but her Muslimness is not what is important in the story. That's not what is driving the plot, because otherwise that's the thing that happens. No, when you represent a Muslim character because you're going to say something about the Muslim identity. And that was not the intention with the book.
Okay.
That's what it came from.
Okay.
So I started this story and I'd written I don't want to say too much about it because otherwise I talk about the story, But the first part of the story had been written up.
Yeah.
And I set it in this area that I'm familiar with because I live in Okla, I live in Jamia.
Okay.
And so I set it in a part of Okla.
Yeah.
And I've done other work there. I have another book which is kind of come from this area with workshops with these children called My Sweet Home. I've done a film which is also set here. So I'm familiar with this area.
Yeah.
And I set it in that. And she's like a girl, of maybe an amalgamation of many children that I've met in this area. Um, and then this must have been in 2019, 2020, sometime around then. I was working
Okay.
on this. And then, of course, the CAA NRC protests happened.
Yeah.
And everything around me, this place that I live in, it just became like suddenly there was this moment of like complete possibility we saw.
Right.
I can walk to the Jamia University, and I used to be able to hear the sounds. Of course,
Okay.
the first night when all of that happened, they were not pleasant sounds.
Yeah.
um, but after that, when the students started gathering at the gate and there was music and there was chanting, I could hear it in my house.
Yeah.
And very often I would hear that sound and I would just walk out, and in 10 minutes I would be at that gate and be listening to what was going on over there. And that in the winter of 2020, suddenly so many of us felt that possibility because we saw how people were coming together, no?
Yeah.
That it was transcending all kinds of identities.
Yes.
It was not about although the CANRC was targeting a certain community,
Yes.
but the people protesting were not only from that community, and that's really what was giving us all that energy.
Yeah.
So this story could not be part of the book because there was this girl growing up in this area, and there was so much going on about children. All the people who were opposed to the protests would try to kind of come down on the protest by saying, oh my God, look at the women, they are bringing their children.
Yeah.
Oh, they are brainwashing children.
Yes.
So, and I was a little bit involved in that whole thing. I used to go to the library that had been set up for children in Shine Bagh.
Yes.
I wrote a little bit about that. So all of that was happening. So it just found its way into the book, you know.
And it has
So
been
I,
mentioned in the book also, like the library that
yes,
was set up there.
that's right. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So, I mean, the most fascinating part of the book, for me at least, was the relationship between Nida and Abba, right?
Yes.
Her father. And this is such a very, I would say, a very desi thing that whatever our children tell us, we say no first. That has to be there. It's such
Hmm.
a desi thing, and you have incorporated that so beautifully. Uh, has it been your experience also growing up, or it was the other way around?
I was given a lot of freedom.
Oh, wow. You were lucky.
Um,
Seriously.
but yeah, yeah. I mean, I had, the normal, some restrictions about sort of, curfew and that
Those
sort of
have to
thing.
be. Those have
But
to be.
yeah, yeah. But no. Um, Actually, this idea of the overprotective father, that of course is an Indian thing, and you're right, there are, so, and particularly with daughters. So
Yeah.
that was one part of it. But it was more for me not about the overprotective father, but about the father learning from the child's courage. I
Yeah.
think that was the thing that I wanted to
That was
talk
beautiful.
about.
That was
Yeah,
beautiful. I won't say much about the story, of course. And in the bicycle quest, it is so evident, it's right there. And later on, of course,
yeah.
I can't say much, but
I wanted it to be about how grown-ups don't always have answers, and
yes,
actually we should listen and pay more attention to children because maybe they can teach us something.
I would,
So
I
that's
would,
what I was going for.
I would show just one page because we can't go beyond too much. But look at this. Look at Nida, having fun, and, kind of look at me, Abba. I'm riding a bicycle, and she's so smart. She's so smart.
Yes,
She's cunning also in a very good way to get, she finds a way. So,
she does.
it's beautiful. And a lot of us have done this. I mean, when we have tried to kind of, learn something, maybe a car or a scooter or
Yeah.
something, we just, creep out of the house and, do whatever we want to. But
So that's the other thing. So, in this new kind of parenting style, no, everything is like about parents and children being friends,
oh,
and
yes,
complete and total honesty,
I hate it.
and all that sort of thing. It's a little bit very extra sanitized.
I
So I
hate
think
it.
that was also part of it, that it's important for children to also have secrets. And what is nice is maybe there comes a moment when the secret is shared. But
Yeah,
I think that for children to have also their privacy and their little secrets, and
absolutely.
to be able to
Yeah,
do things, and this is life. We have all told fibs to our parents and done things.
yeah.
So I'm also not very comfortable with that, very sanitized.
I don't like it.
uh,
Sorry, parents who are doing that, but let them have their secrets, and let there be a slight gap. It's fine. It's fine. Totally fine.
yeah.
We were also fine. I mean, we grew up. There's nothing wrong with us. I don't know.
Or if there is, then there will be something else wrong with the
Yeah,
other.
of
So
course, of
let's
course.
accept that there will be something. We
Yes,
have to
of
kind of,
course. I love the way that you mentioned everything as it is. I mean, it you didn't sanitize it, and I am always afraid to use that word now, sanitize. But uh, uh, let's talk about the illustrator here, Priya.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
let's talk about her.
That's the one of the most wonderful illustrators we have. Super talented Priya Kurian.
And
I can't imagine this book now that I see it like this.
yeah.
I mean, for me, like, she really brought Nida, and I think Abba, she got Abba so
Oh,
bang on.
yeah. I think so.
And there's all these little lovely details, in the settings, the crows, and there's just
It's
it's
brilliant.
really really
There's
lovely.
brilliance.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I would love to check her other work out, and congratulations to Priya also on this one because it's remarkable. I mean, the work is super. Okay, so what does freedom mean to you?
To be able, to be able to choose,
Okay.
to be able to choose to be, to do, to think, to say,
Yeah.
all of those things.
Awesome. Okay, guys, I think we had so much fun. Both of these books, and this one is out on 14th, is it?
That's right.
Yeah,
On the
14th,
14th.
and this one is already on Amazon and everywhere, so you can check them out. And
And try and buy them from your independent bookstores.
oh yes, I forgot that. You can go there. I committed a sin there.
No.
We have to support them, and because this is a time where they are struggling. Let's not, there are no two ways about it. People are, wary about going out of their houses. So guys, pick it up from the independent bookstore. Jahan bhi hai, just pick it up and leave a feedback. I mean, where should they leave feedback then?
Yeah, that would be nice, right? I mean, they can. I'm sure the Penguin site will have some place, or
Yes, yes, yes. They have it. They have
just
it. Yeah, yeah.
on your own social media.
Yeah.
There are also so many, sites and sort of
Oh, tag
pages
us.
where
Tag
people
us
talk about
on Instagram.
children's
Tag us
books.
on
Your own
Instagram. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Tag us at
tag.
the Booknerds, and Samina is also there on
I
Facebook
am.
and
Yes,
Instagram. So tag.
I am. I am there as Finding Enchantment, and
Yes,
I'm
yes.
yeah,
A
yeah.
great handle. Finding enchantment, find enchantment there. And again, thanks to Penguinsters for letting us do this. And thank you so much. It was wonderful, reading these books and chatting about them with you. You are a wonderful human being, because without that, you
Oh,
can't write these books. Okay. So yeah, thank you so
thank
much.
you.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much. Thank you for giving so much time to it. And I'm so glad that you liked the books.